Good evening and welcome to Crisler Center here in Ann Arbor, Michigan for a very festive evening of Michigan women's basketball. Obviously, with what happened yesterday, Ann Arbor has been a bundle of joy these past 24 hours coming off the heels of a national championship. Today in the state of Michigan, it's Wolverine Day. And what better way to celebrate Wolverine Day than here at Crisler watching some women's basketball? Alongside I'm Peter Nasr. Alongside me is Matthew Peal, Tim DeGrand, and Meyer Cusnir on with us in the second half. And Matthew, we got an exciting game, Michigan, Minnesota. What's one thing you're really looking forward to watching in this ball game today?
You're indeed right about that. It is going to be a very exciting game. I am very excited, especially because both of these teams are looking for their first win in the new year. Happy New Year, everyone, to everyone listening. Both teams have played one game and had one loss this season, but they are looking for their first win of the season. First win of the year, calendar year.
Yeah, you're right. Michigan coming off of a tough loss in Indiana against a really good Hoosier squad, and Minnesota themselves coming off a loss to Maryland. So both teams trying to get back on the right track with a win here today in Ann Arbor. Let's run through the starting lineups real quick. You're just getting ready to go here from Crisler Center. For Minnesota, it's the same five they've had all year long. They've had the same starters every game this year. Amaya Battle, Mara Braun, Mallory Heyer, Grace Chelsea, and Sophie Hart, the starters for the Golden Gophers. For the Wolverines, we got mostly the same lineup, a couple changes. We've seen Kim Barnes-Arico changing things up a little bit as the season's gone on. Alyssa Brent and Lauren Hansen, the guards, alongside Layla Felia, Jordan Hobbs as well, and Kyra Evans manning a smaller lineup for Michigan today with 4 guards to start out. And we'll see how Michigan will fit in the 2 Williamses and down low as the game progresses.
Definitely.
Yeah, we got an exciting one here. I'm looking forward to it. Michigan, obviously, every game in the Big Ten's important. Michigan 2-1 to start the Big Ten play. Coming off, they had a big win here in their last home game against Ohio State, against the big rival Buckeyes, to be able to win that game against a ranked Buckeyes team on New Year's Eve, but then to lose to Indiana on the road. A good opportunity to get a good get-back game. But this is no bad Minnesota team. They're 11-3 in their own right. They've got some quality players, such as Mara Braun. She's someone to look out for. She can hit the 3 ball, and Michigan definitely has to get up on her, cannot let her get going, because obviously she could really blow a game open. She averages essentially 20 points a game for the Golden Gophers. So if you're Michigan, that's someone they really need to keep an eye on defensively.
Absolutely. The sophomore Braun has scored 20 points just this past Wednesday versus Maryland in the game they unfortunately lost, but she is definitely one of the team's leaders and someone to keep an eye out for this evening here at Crisler Arena.
Yeah, we were just getting ready to go here. Michigan wearing the all-whites, Minnesota in their all-maroon, as we got the pregame video with Michigan legend Naz Hillman getting us ready to roll here at Crisler. A nice crowd out here, not as full as you expect, but it's raining outside. It's been a dreary day today, although the morale here in Ann Arbor is obviously very high. And we'll see the women's team can build off of that high morale that the football program gave the city, gave the state yesterday with their big-time win in Houston last night in the national championship. Kyra Evans to take the jump for Michigan, going up against Sophie Hart. Once we get the official word for the officials to get play underway. And Matthew, let's have a good first half here.
Absolutely. We are ready to go. This is going to be a phenomenal game.
Still waiting on the signal. We're still waiting on the TV network to get ready to roll. That's what this little delay is, as the players are just waiting anxiously to get going. There's the horn, though. Looks like we're getting ready to tip off here from Crisler Center. Thanks for tuning in to WCBN Sports. Should be a fun one here when we actually get started. Still waiting on the signal. I don't know if I've never had to wait this long for a game to start. I don't know. They really, either the players got out here. There we go. We're about to get going. Maybe the referee with a couple dribbles of the ball up in the air, and we are underway. The Gophers win the toss, a deep toss, 1. But Minnesota will take the ball up the floor. Braun will handle the ball for Minnesota, but she quickly causes a close turnover. Layla Felia getting in there. Out of bounds, though, but Minnesota will retain possession. A quick, sloppy play for Braun. Michigan couldn't capitalize, though. Minnesota retains possession.
In a game like this, there is no room for sloppy play because these are two of the best defensive teams in the nation right now, and we're going to see a really good game.
Yeah, you mentioned it. Michigan, the top defensive team in the Big Ten. Minnesota right behind at 3rd. So maybe a defensive battle ensuing here. Minnesota with the inbound. Battle up to the point to Braun. Braun with a step back. Tried to look for the threes. He's going to look for the post up inside. It's Hart inside. Doubled inside with contact called. There's going to be a foul. They're going to call it on Lauren Hansen. So that's her first foul of the evening. The team's first as well. So Minnesota will inbound once again. Get a little bit of extra shot clock back to 20 seconds. The inbound out to Braun. Excuse me, that's Battle. Battle inside. Hart from the elbow. Off the glass and in, and Minnesota takes the lead.
Great way to start the game for Minnesota. Got some momentum going, but Michigan is on the other end of the court now.
Hansen leading the charge for the Wolverines. Get the screen from Brett. Back to Hansen at the point, directing traffic once again. Looks for Hobbs. Hobbs tries to make a move, can't get by. Back to Hansen at the point. Over to Brett. Brett tries it, drives inside, kick out. Hansen for 3, no good. Rebounded by Brett inside. Michigan will reset again. Michigan with an early offensive rebound. We'll see if they can capitalize. Evans handed off. Here's Felia inside. A little weave action. Hobbs with a bounce pass inside Evans, but the pass was a little out in front. Evans couldn't handle immediately. Jump ball is going to be called, but the arrow will give the ball back to Michigan, but only with 4.1 to go on the shot clock.
Wow, a few early turnovers. It's going to make this game really exciting, I think so.
Yeah, we've seen the defense. These possessions are going to be long, lengthy possessions. Felia, though, on the short corner right off the inbound, gets a friendly hometown roll to tie this game at 2.
Quick inbound, quick shot, dropped it. 2 for the Wolverines. Great way to start the game.
Braun with the ball for the Gophers from the Michigan logo. Looks for Hart inside, kicks out to Battle. Battle's going to use a Hart screen. Inside to Hart. Hart with a cross-court pass for 3, and got it for 3. That's higher for Mallory Higher. Minnesota up 5-2. Feely looking to answer, kicks it out. Brett inside to Jordan Hobbs. Hobbs plays it to Hansen at the point. Hansen's going to drive it inside. Got stopped defensively, kicks it out to Felia, who looks like she traveled as she was trying to make a move. Well defended by the Gophers, and Michigan turns the ball over.
Yeah, just as we've been saying, this is beautiful defense, and let's see how the Wolverines are able to respond with their own defense.
Yeah, this is shaping out to be a game where the defense is going to come up with some big plays. As Battle, though, hits a nice shot right off, used a screen, had a little bit of space, and just pulled up for a quick jumper in Minnesota with a quick 5-point lead. Feely to Brett. Brett looking for Felia, but she turns it over. Braun is going to go all the way down the floor. She'll lay it up and in. So Michigan with another turnover early. That's their second already. And the Gophers capitalize. They average 20 points per game off of turnovers. Minnesota's very effective at capitalizing. Evans inside, kicks it out. Hansen gets a pump fake, then she'll pull up from the elbow. Can't get it to go. Loose rebound picked up by Battle for the Gophers. Pushing it forward is Braun. Braun on Feely on Braun. Back to Battle. Battle is looking to get it to Higher. But Meyer was cutting inside, and Braun Battle just threw it out of bounds. So turnover for the Golden Gophers gives Michigan the possession again.
It was good for Michigan. Good to get the ball back while you're down 7 already early in the game. Michigan 2, Minnesota with 9 points.
Not the best start if you're the Wolverines. But here's Hansen trying to make a move here. Looking for the cross-court pass, was defended out of bounds well. Will stay Michigan possession, but Hansen was looking for Hobbs in the corner. Couldn't find her. Instead, Michigan will be forced inbound. Minnesota with a 7-0 run in the last minute 45. We'll see our first substitutions of the game. At least Stuck coming in for Michigan. And as well as Cameron Williams now checking in late for Evans. Hobbs in down to Williams, right back to Hobbs for 3 from the corner. Doesn't get it to fall, but Filia with the rebound. Michigan with another chance at 3. Got it to go. It's Elisa Brett for 3. Open at the top of the wing. She knocks it down. Back to a 4-point game.
That was a beautiful shot by Brett. Thankful for Filia's rebound there. That definitely was a big saver.
Here's Minnesota. Now it's Sanders to take it. Stopped in the short corner. Kicks it out to Meyer. Inside. Gets a tough finish to fall for the Gophers.
That was solid defense by the Wolverines, but somehow she was able to find a way around the block and drain the shot.
And Holloway with a nice bucket for the Gophers. Here's Michigan out with the ball. Hobbs asking for a screen. She gets it from Cameron Williams. She's going to drive it inside. Gets it, lays it up and in off the glass. Jordan Hobbs with a nice layup using the screen from Cameron Williams. Braun controls for the Gophers. 5:20 to go here in the opening frame. On the outside is Sanders. Sanders guarded by Filia. A loft pass back to Braun. Braun inside to Meyer. Meyer back to Braun. Michigan defending the perimeter well. Braun's going to pull up a 3, and she knocks it down. We mentioned in the opener, Braun's going to hit those 3s, and she nails a tough one there.
Absolutely. It's early in the game, but that was already the second 3 for Minnesota. Shooting well from outside the arc.
They are indeed. Michigan trying to answer with Hansen. In and out. Rebounded Meyer.
Yeah, on the other end of the court, Michigan's having a little trouble with 3s. Unable to get one so far, but need to shake off the jitters and get back into this one.
Holloway fires a 3. The Gophers, but no good. Rebound Hart inside, and she drew contact, I believe, on the floor. I believe that was actually on Grachalski, excuse me, who she drew the foul inside. So that's going to bring us to our first media timeout around halfway into the first quarter. Minnesota jumping out to an early lead. And, you know, they've averaged at halftime leading by 11 points. So they're known to get out to these quick leads. They do it again there. They've done it again here for Minnesota. And it's all about Michigan trying to answer the bell here. Minnesota with 2 3s, you mentioned it. They're 2 for 3 from the long line. Braun with one of them and Meyer with the other. Minnesota shooting 6 for 7 from the field to start. Is that sustainable? Probably not, but obviously it's a really good start if you're the Golden Gophers, and you have to be pleased if you're a Gopher fan.
Absolutely. There's no better way to get the game going, get your momentum going, get your team into the game than to start with 14 points. Michigan's down 7, but it's very, very early in the game. Too hard to tell anything so far, but both teams look like they're getting into the groove, and hopefully this is shaping up to be a real good one this evening.
Yeah, it definitely is. And for Michigan, 2 quick turnovers in that first quarter. They led to 4 points for the Gophers. That's something they'll want to clean up. For Minnesota, we mentioned the turnovers themselves. Last year, they were one of the worst teams in the country. In the 200, worse than the 200 level for most turnovers per game. This year, they've cleaned up their top 50 team in terms of turnovers. And it looks like Mallory on the floor here. I wasn't paying attention to what they were doing on the floor during this intermission, little lunge challenge or something, but Mallory's got a little bit of cash going home with her, so good for her.
That's awesome. Gotta love Peloton. Grateful for the sponsors of University of Michigan Athletics.
Always some physical activity during one of these timeouts at Michigan basketball games. Now this one was a lunge race. Unless it was something else, but I missed it. Yeah, 4:26 to go here in the opening quarter. Michigan trails by 7 early. But like we said, lots of time still. Michigan shooting 43% from the field early. But Minnesota, 86%, 6 for 7. We'll see how sustainable that will be as we move forward. Minnesota will get the ball underneath to start this to inbound with a 20-second shot clock. Having trouble getting it in, but they get it into Hart, who's going to post up. Kick out for 3. Short. Ball loose on the floor, and it's going to be whistled for a jump ball, and the arrow will point to the Gophers.
Already our second jump ball of the day possession will go back to Michigan. Gophers with the ball, 10 seconds left on the shot clock.
It's a good feed inside to Battle, but she couldn't get the layup to go, but Minnesota with the offensive rebound. Kick out for 3. No good. Felia with the rebound. An open 3 for Grahalski, but she couldn't knock it down. Here's Michigan now. It's Lee Stuck. Get the screen. Inside is Williams. Cameron Williams, but she's going to get tied up with Sophie Hart. Minnesota draws that jump ball, but the arrow keeps the ball right here for the Wolverines. As Taylor Williams comes in and Kyra Evans comes back in. Hobbs to inbound, looked inside Cameron Williams. That's a really nice feed, but Cameron Williams couldn't finish it. But Michigan comes away with the offensive rebound. Hobbs looked inside for Cameron Williams, and she was pulled down from behind by, I believe that was Battle. Never mind, that's on Sinano. That's her first. So that foul will be on the floor. So Michigan will inbound once again inside after they do a little cleanup inside the paint. Hobbs to inbound. Can't find anyone. Eventually finds Evans, who crosses back to Stuck to Hansen, or to Felia, back to Hobbs. Hobbs, good back and forth with Evans, but Hobbs couldn't get the layup to fall. Battle with the rebound for the Gophers. Hart inside. A little fadeaway from the block. She can't get it to fall. Michigan pushing it forward. Stuck looking for a 3, drives instead. Foul going to be called before the shot. They're calling Sinano again. So that's her second quick one. She's going to get subbed out. That's already 3 fouls on the Gophers early here in this contest. Or 2, I believe.
Hobbs to inbound the ball.
Back to Hobbs, short corner. Felia to Stuck. Stuck at the wing. Stuck's going to drive inside. Well defended, but kicked out. Rings around the 3-point line for Felia for 3. No good. Rebound Gophers. They'll push it forward.
Feely with just 2 points today so far. Still looking to get into the groove a little bit. One of the big shooters for Michigan. Hoping to be a big drive for the team today.
And she is their leading scorer. As Hart posting up inside. Will kick it out to Grahalski. Grahalski will drive, kicks it out, fires a 3, Battle, rims out. Rebound by Michigan. Michigan pushing it forward. It's Hobbs. Hobbs to kick it out, Stuck for 3. Got it to go.
Beautiful 3 for the Wolverines, just 4 points away now from Minnesota, and that was the first point in over 2 minutes of play.
Yeah, scoring draw for both sides. That was at least Brett, not Stuck. I apologize for that. She hits the 3, her second 3 of the game. Minnesota the other way. Little trap, but Minnesota gets out of it. Gracholski's open for three. She can't respond. Rebound loose, and Hart comes out with it. Kick out for three, but that missed everything. Gonna go out of bounds.
Minnesota was doing such an amazing job of hitting those threes right before the timeout break, and they have not hit one since. Not even a two-pointer, so.
Yeah, they're only 2 for 8 from beyond the long line here today. And the field goal percentage, we said it was not sustainable, 87%. It's dropped to 43%. They have not scored. They've missed their last 8 field goals, and they have not scored in 3.5 minutes. Michigan still has not been able to claw back, though. Down by 4. Feely is going to drive inside. Nice move, and she gets the layup to go. Nice little Euro step around the defender, and Layla Felia with a good bucket there. Trims the deficit to 2. Here's Battle. Battle to Braun and back to Battle. And an offensive foul called off ball. They're going to call it on Johnson. That's her first, and that's a third on the Gophers. Michigan catches a break there.
Things have turned quickly for the Wolverines. Down 7, now down just 2 points with a minute left in the first quarter of the game.
A chance to tie or take the lead here. Evans to Felia. Felia is going to try and drive it on Braun, but Braun defends it well. Hanson across to Macy Brown. Or excuse me, that's Taylor Woodson. Hanson will pull up from the elbow, and she knocks it down to tie this game. That's a good pull-up jumper for her. Her first points of the game. Crowd getting into it here to end the quarter. Battle to Gracholski. Back. Here's Gracholski. Drives inside with her left. Well defended. She's forced to kick it out to Braun for 3, and she knocks it down.
No better way to end that scoring drought for Minnesota with a 3 just before the end of the first quarter. 15 seconds remaining.
Yeah, Braun with a big answer for the Gophers. And Felia will hold it for the last shot. We're at 10 seconds to go here in the first quarter. To Camp Schrader. Back to Felia at the wing. A little screen and pop. Evans missed everything at the buzzer, and that's going to do it for quarter number 1. A quarter of runs, I'd say, for both teams. Minnesota with a quick burst to start the game, up 9-2. They eventually led 14-7. Michigan was able to then tie it up at 14, and then Minnesota with Braun getting her second 3 to go. She's got 8 points already, and her 3 gives the Gophers a lead at 17-14 as the first quarter comes to a close.
And with just 14 points to 17 points, this is looking out to be a lower scoring game. Minnesota would get just over 60 points at the pace they're going at, and Michigan just under 60 points. Going to be a great game.
Yeah, you mentioned Michigan averaging 72 a game, and they only give up 56 a game. So both teams, we mentioned it, their defensive prowess. Both teams averaging, allowing only around 56 points a game. Michigan first in the Big Ten, and Minnesota third. And we've seen that, like you mentioned, we've seen the defense on display for both sides. Both teams, they've had a couple open looks, but they've also really had to earn their baskets on most of their possessions.
Definitely. And based on the first quarter and based on how both teams play and how they looked all season, what both teams are going to be wanting to do in the rest of the next quarter as well as in the second half is to cut back on those turnovers and make sure they're ramping up their offensive efficiency. As we were saying, this is going to be a great defensive game, but what you're going to want to do is reduce those turnovers, as we've already seen a few jump balls, a few turnovers, and make sure you're being quick on offense, not slowing the pace down too much. Trying to catch them off guard is what's going to be most useful to pull out with a win in this game.
Yeah, you mentioned it, but this game's up for grabs, obviously, for both sides. A little quick update on the score sheet. Alyssa Brett leading the scoring for Michigan. She's got 6 points. She had 2 big threes for Michigan. The only 2 threes that have connected for the Wolverines. Felia's got 4 on 2 of 3 from the field. She's got a couple rebounds, and Michigan had a couple early turnovers in the first quarter, but they cleaned it up the rest of the way. So just the 2 turnovers. Minnesota as well, they only have 2 turnovers. To their credit, their leading scorer is Mara Braun, who we told you in the opener, and we mentioned it. She averages 20 points a game essentially. She's going to be their leading scorer, and as expected, she has 8. She's 3 for 4 from field, 2 for 3 from 3. Battle with a couple rebounds and an assist to lead in those statistical categories for the Golden Gophers.
And we are just about to get started with the second quarter of Michigan basketball versus Minnesota. Thank you very much for tuning in to WCBN Sports here on YouTube, student radio at the University of Michigan. And the game is underway. Battle starting with the ball. And Battle almost loses hands. And it looks like Hansen's got a breakaway. Passes it over to Woodson for a 2-pointer to start this second quarter, excuse me. Braun with the ball. Hands it off to Battle, but Battle unable to complete the pass, broken up by the Wolverines.
Yeah, looking for that long cross-court pass. Michigan doing a good job getting their hands in the passing lanes and forcing inbound out of play.
And Battle's going to inbound the ball in just a moment, looking for something, anything, is able to get it into Hart. Hart slows the pace down a little bit, back to Battle. Battle at the top of the court, dribbles inside, goes for the layup, and it's good.
That's a tough layup from Battle. Using her right hand on the left side of the basket, gets it to fall. Well defended as well.
On the other end of the court now, Michigan. Felia currently has the ball. Passes it around over to Woodson. Woodson to Hansen. Hansen unable to make the 3-pointer.
She had the look there she wanted. This Minnesota came out there quickly.
Quick movement from Minnesota, but unable to get a good shot off, and we're back on the other end of the court. Felia with the ball, dribbles inside, and it looks like there is a foul on the play. It looks like a travel.
Yeah, I think they called Felia with the travel. I think she slid the pivot foot as she was trying to make a move in the paint. So there's the 3rd turnover of the game for Michigan.
And just as we were saying, we want to reduce those turnovers for both sides. Both sides want to reduce them. And here we are. Battle with the ball, taking her time. Over to Gracholski. Gracholski to Braun. Braun to Hart. Back at the top of the court. Looked like it was tipped. Hart shot no good. And on the other end of the court, Hobbs has the ball now for University of Michigan. Woodson now. Near the top of the arc is Hansen. Hansen to Hobbs, to Woodson. Felia takes a look inside, unable to find something. Back outside to Hansen. Hansen near the top of the arc right now, and unable to get a long-range 2. Rebounded by the Wolverines. Hobbs with the ball right now. Looking. Passes inside to Evans. Evans able to find a difficult layup, but it's good.
That's a really good move by Tyra Evans. Little pump fake out, then drives it her foot inside and gets the layup to go. 1-point game. Michigan hanging around here.
And now the Gophers battle, dribbling inside. Ball is broken up. And we have a timeout from the Golden Gophers.
It looks like the ball was loose on the ground, and Minnesota is forced to use their timeout here. I believe that was their first charge in this quarter, this half, or this game, I should say.
Minnesota with 3 timeouts, Michigan with 4. 18 for the Wolverines, 19 for the Golden Gophers.
Yeah, and a good start for the quarter defensively for Michigan, as Minnesota, they scored the first basket to start, but they've been outscored the last couple minutes, and We just had a couple good looks offensively. Just couldn't get some shots to fall, but Evans was able to get a tough layup to go to keep it a one-score game, keep it a one-point game. But both teams, you could tell, we've harped on it. The defensive intensity is there, and it's tough for both these teams to get baskets and to get good shots, and that's why we see this lower scoring contest as we're at just over 7 minutes to go here in quarter number 2.
We've got a timeout on the court right now, polishing up in the paint a little bit. Always good to keep it nice and shiny, and they sure do that well here at Crisler Arena.
We got great staff out here. We got great ushers. We got shout out to our usher Dom, who treats us amazingly up here in the press box.
Indeed, they do. Provide us with everything we need. Everything we'll need for the game. We're super grateful for them, and not only their commitment to us, but commitment to the university and their athletic programs as well.
Yeah, 100%. It's always great being here in Crisler. Was here yesterday for the watch party for the big game, which was a great atmosphere, and still hard to believe we're national champions, but obviously these Wolverines want to get there too. The women's team has never, they made it to the Elite Eight. That's as far as they gotten during the Nas Hillman era a couple years ago. Just try to get back there. Obviously it's not an easy road in this league, particularly, especially with the teams and the way that this game is growing. A lot of really good teams in the women's game. But you gotta go one game at a time, and starts here at Crisler on this nice Tuesday evening in early January. So,
and we are back underway. Minnesota will inbound the ball with 7 minutes and 2 seconds left in this half. And battle with the ball currently near the top of the three-point arc. Passes it to Gracholski. Gracholski unable to get the shot in the bucket. And rebounded by Alyssa Brett. Hansen with the ball. Passes it to Brett again. Hobbs with the ball. Hobbs shoots a 3, and it is good.
A good little back and forth between Hobbs and Hansen. Found Hobbs open. She nails the 3.
Minnesota gets it quickly to the other end of the court. A missed three-pointer by Braun. And Minnesota unable to get a layup. Hart misses it, rebounded by the Wolverines. And on the other end of the court is Hansen. Hansen hands it to Hobbs, looking for another 3, but unable to drop it. Rebounded by the Wolverines, and Hansen again with the ball. Felia looking, dribbles inside, unable to find something, kicks it back out. Another 3 fired by Hansen, unable to go, and rebounded by Hart for the Gophers. Gophers looking, finds something inside, and that is a beautiful layup by Heyer, number 24. Wolverines looking for something again. Slowing the pace down a little bit. Shoots another 3, but it is no good. Shot by Alyssa Brett.
Michigan will trigger happy here, but they cannot get the 3-pointer to fall down. 3 of 11 now on the game.
Battle looking inside. Fires a long-range 2, but is able to drop it. Timeout from the Wolverines. First timeout. 3 remaining for the Wolverines and 3 for the Gophers. 21, Michigan. 23, Minnesota.
I think maybe KBA wants to, maybe she doesn't like what she's seeing offensively. They've gotten a couple good looks from 3, but they're definitely really focusing on the perimeter these past couple minutes. Maybe we'll see if Kim Barnes-Rico is going to try and get them to work it inside a little bit as she used this quick 30-second timeout just before them. So this is not the media timeout. So we'll get that on the next whistle. I've also noticed Minnesota's pushed the pace a couple times when they're trying to capitalize off some missed threes from Michigan, and they got that one layup to go.
Those are the kind of plays that both teams need to make in this game in order to get that advantage, to get the game going. Because of these teams' good defense, you're going to need a quick play, get some quick points. That's what's going to be helpful in this game. Michigan with the ball again. Hansen to Hobbs. Hobbs still slowing the pace down a little bit. Back to Hansen. Hansen trying to dribble inside, looking for something, able to move the ball around a little bit, around the perimeter. Over to Evans. Evans at the top of the arc right now. Brett inside, passes it back out to Hansen. Hansen fires that three, and it's good.
Really good inside-outside there, driving by Brett, getting out to Hansen, who's open for three, knocking it down.
And Sanders in the game right now for the Gophers. Dribbles inside, kicks it out to Meyer, who's able to drop the three. 26 for the Gophers right now. Wolverines with the ball on the other end of the court. Quick dribble inside, pass out to Hobbs. Hobbs getting the ball moving around the arc again. Hands it off to Kampschroeder. Kampschroeder to Hobbs. Hobbs looking inside, and it's good for two. A little spin move there. That was
really
a nice
layup
move
by Hobbs there. But I've noticed the penetration has been successful for both teams in getting some perimeter looks there, though. Hobbs laid it up as Minnesota answers with a quick three.
I don't know what I just saw there. That was an obnoxiously long three. Beautiful shot. Absolutely drained it. That was Braun, one of the team's leading scorers for the Gophers. And Michigan with the ball again. 26 Wolverines, 29 Gophers. Hobbs looking for something, anything, moving the ball around the arc, and drops a three. What a beautiful shot by Alyssa Brett.
Now the threes are falling for both teams, and
Minnesota looking for some ball movement, unable to get much, and that looks like another turnover. Beautifully done by the Wolverines, and Hansen looks for the layup, and it's good.
Yeah, really nice job by Hansen. She thought about maybe slowing it down off the turnover, but she decided to take it in herself, and that's a tough layup and puts Michigan in front.
And that's Michigan's first lead of the game. Sanders looking for something on the other end of the court. And another long-range three, absolutely drilled by Gracholski. Beautiful shot.
Yeah, long three into right. Okay, Michigan's going to call us another timeout right here, but they've left a couple open threes. Gracholski there, Braun a couple moments ago. And this is a team you can't give the three-pointer away. They'll knock down the three on you. They're shooting the three-pointer at a 33% clip on the year. And when you have a wide-open shot like that, especially when you have Mara Braun wide open, you can't leave her open. She is only one of 4 players in the NCAA this year with 5 threes or more in 5 different games. Caitlin Clark's one of the other 4, one of the other 3. You just can't leave her open like that. She already has 3 threes today. She's 3 for 5 from beyond the long line. Michigan has to think about pressing up on her whenever she's outside in the perimeter.
And we're back. The Wolverines will inbound the ball. Lila Falia is back in the game, as well as Cameron Williams, number 44.
Okay, Hansen double dribbled there on it. That's an uncharacteristic error, just as she was taking the ball up the floor. A little mental break there, mental mistake, excuse me.
A little bit of a sloppy play is going to turn this game around. Braun currently with the ball, looking for something. Hands it off to Battle. Battle at the beyond the arc still. To Hart, back to Battle. A little in-out. Battle looking for something, anything. Drives inside, but can't find a shot. Kicks it out. And the three is no good from Braun, but foul on the shot.
That was a really good job by Battle to work her way inside. Well defended by Brett. But then Battle with a really good kick out to Braun, who fired the three, and Michigan was closing out a little too aggressively there. Looks like Felia was called for the foul. Now you put Braun on the line to shoot 3, and she's one of the best free throw shooters in the country.
That's right, shooting 93.6% from the free throw line. That is absolutely insane. Just drilled her first 2 and shooting her third right now.
It's essentially a 3-pointer when you put her on the line as she knocks all 3 down with relative ease.
Definitely. It's as if she has a better chance to score her 3 free throws than the actual 3 itself. Peal looking for something. A little bit of a sloppy pass. And Peal is able to hang on to the ball, but is broken up by Battle. Battle winning that battle right there. A layup is missed twice by Higher for the Gophers. And it looks like we have another foul.
Accidentally reset the score here on our scoreboard, so I'm just fixing that real fast. But Michigan a little sloppy there. Layla Felia sloppy a couple times there, eventually turned the ball over, and it led to Michigan fouling Hart inside. Or excuse me, not Hart, Mallory Higher, who hits the first one, extending this Gopher lead.
Minnesota with 100% free throw percentage right now, 4 for 4. Looking for 5 for 5 right now, and it is no good. But Minnesota gets the rebound. And Battle looking for something. Throws up a 2 and another foul on the Wolverines. These fouls have been killing Michigan right now.
Yeah, they start to add up. We had the foul on the 3. And now this is a tough shot from Battle. She kind of just forced it up like you said. And she got it to fall. And the harm, so she'll get one more.
And it's good. That's 5 for 6 on the free throws for the Gophers just in the last few minutes. 39 for Minnesota, 31 for the Wolverines. Camp Schroeder currently at the top of the arc. Passes it off to Evans. Evans with the ball, unable to get a pass off. Knocked out of bounds by the Gophers, and it's going to go back to the University of Michigan Wolverines.
It was a good idea there by Evans, trying to dump it off. I believe it was Hobbs inside the low block, but well defended by Gophers, forcing inbound.
Inbounded by Hobbs to Evans. Evans looking for something. Unable to get a 2-pointer, short range, and rebounded by the Gophers. Battle on the other end of the court now. Looks for a pass between players, but Felia gets a 2 and a foul on the play.
Yeah, that's a really good job by Felia, creating defense leading to the offense. The steal at the point on at the start of the possession, taking it all the way, and then finishing through the contact. Foul was on Rahalski, so that's her first, and Felia will try and convert on the 3-point play.
Beautifully done, and much needed for the Wolverines, looking for their first free throw of the day. And it's good, 1 for 1. Minnesota looking for something. Maybe they'll try to run down the clock because there are just 40 seconds left in this half. Slowing down the pace a little bit. Battle with the ball. Looking for something. Dribbles inside. Takes a long range 2, but it is no good. Rebounded by Hart. Hart, a little spin move and a layup for 2 for the Gophers.
You can't give up those offensive rebounds. Michigan's gotten a couple of those against them, and that one turned into 2 after they forced a tough shot themselves, and now Michigan looks to hold for the last shot.
We have 10 seconds remaining in this half. Felia with the ball, dribbles inside, looking for something, and the shot is no good. Rebounded by the Wolverines, and a foul from the Gophers.
Yeah, I missed you the shot. I missed you got the shot, but Felia drove in, missed the layup, got the offensive rebound. Looks like Taylor Woodson was the one who was fouled, who got the offensive rebound, so she's going to shoot 2 with the second left. Try to cut into this deficit before the half.
Misses her first free throw. This has been an unfortunate turn of events for the Wolverines just in the last couple minutes with the fouls, with a couple missed shots. Not the best way to go into half, but is able to get one more point off the second free throw. And Battle's going to take not the last shot of the game, doesn't even try with the second left. Great way to finish the half for the Gophers. 41 for Minnesota, 35 for the Wolverines.
And you mentioned this game of runs sort of continued in this quarter. Michigan was able to take their first lead of the game. Then they gave up a nice big run from Minnesota, who jumped in front up 7, and then Michigan just clawed their way back a little bit at the end of the half to trail by 6 now. But those little valleys in the runs that Michigan's giving up, that's something they definitely want to clean up in the second half. And it came from a couple turnovers. They gave up a couple open threes, and you mentioned it, the fouls. Michigan gave up a couple tough fouls that led to some quality buckets or some free throw opportunities for Minnesota that they were able to capitalize on at the line, as they're shooting 5 for 6 from the line early or through this first half.
Despite the 6-point lead by the Gophers at half, this is looking like a pretty evenly matched game from what we've seen so far. Field goal percentage for Minnesota is 50% and Michigan 48%, making 14 of their 29 shots. And similarly from the three-point range, 43% for the Golden Gophers and 38% for the Wolverines.
Yeah, you mentioned this is if you're looking at the stat sheet, it's as even of a game as you could imagine it to be. The difference really is that just Minnesota's hit one more 3 compared to Michigan, but both teams are shooting the 3 ball at a pretty solid clip, particularly Minnesota, 6 for 14, and specifically Meyer, who we expected to shoot really well. It looks like Simon Says is here to do some halftime stuff. 21st season as a halftime show. Good for Simon Says. So that's what's going on the floor right now, if you hear that in the background. But trying to fire up this crowd here. As he alludes to yesterday's game. But yeah, you mentioned it, Matthew, really tight game, and I'm really excited to see how the second half's going to play out. It just feels like either team, they're both right there. I think it's going to be the team that makes a few amounts of mistakes in their defensive coverage, like whoever's going to give up the least amount of open looks. But I've noticed both teams have been able to get penetration, of the defenses have collapsed, and they've gotten some kick-out opportunities. So I'm interested to see how Michigan if they'll continue to do that. We saw Feely drive a couple times, kicks out to Hansen, who hit a 3. Minnesota took advantage of that a couple times. So we'll see if how that will play a role here as we get ready once the second half gets underway in a few moments.
Absolutely. And just as we were saying, both of these scores and both of the field goal percentages are similar. There are some relations between these two teams that we are seeing tonight. The head coach for Minnesota, Plitzewhite, was the associate head coach at University of Michigan from 2007 to 2012.
Yeah, so coaching obviously before KBA came in with the previous coach here at Michigan, but obviously for her in her first season here at Minnesota, came in from West Virginia last year, led them to the NCAA tournament. A nice little homecoming for her, just getting to play or getting to coach at her own, where she's comfortable coaching. You know, for her, this is a big game for, she's getting her team ready, telling them how much this means to her. If she can get a big win in her first year in their lone meeting here against Michigan this year, this is the only time that the Gophers and Wolverines will do battle this year. So that is an interesting matchup. You mentioned it, and we've seen a fun coaching battle and a fun matchup overall through the first 20 minutes, and these next 20 are definitely going to be worth tuning into and sticking around for, because it's definitely either team's game, and this is an important game for both teams. Both teams are Michigan 2-1 in a Big Ten play, Minnesota 1-2, but as we know, the Big Ten schedule is no joke here. Michigan's got Wisconsin afterwards before they head on a little road trip. Obviously, they're going to head to Iowa City later this year, which is always a tough time, ending the season with a trip to Columbus and then home at Purdue. So, like, obviously, the way that the Big Ten is shaping out this year, Michigan State's looked good this year. So, every game when you can take advantage of a home game in the Big Ten against another quality team, and when you can get a win, it's a big momentum boost, big confidence boost as Michigan fights to get as good of a seed as they can heading into the Big Ten tournament, obviously with the goal of making it back to the NCAA tournament, which they have which KBA has made the standard for this program, and which we have seen the past handful of years with the standard of making the tournament for this Wolverines team.
It's been awesome to see Kim Barnes-Arico transforming the team from not the best record, ultimately to where we are today, seeing them make it to the Elite Eight, have some great players, great camaraderie for each other, and just fighting every single day, every single game. It's been awesome to see.
Yeah, she's the winningest coach for a reason here at Michigan. She's done a great job with this program. I'm sorry, got lost track of what's going on in the Simon Says game here. Looks like there's one guy left on the far side, and this Simon guy is messing with our near side, who has a few people left to. That's tough.
I don't understand anything here. I don't understand how he does it.
It's like an auctioneer. He's talking really quickly. Yeah, someone put the wrong hand up for a second, so she's been kicked out. Always fun seeing the halftime festivities here at Crisler Center. Last day of our winter break before classes start. Nowhere better to be than here at Crisler. Finishing off the winter break and kicking off the winter semester, and it's definitely starting to feel like winter here in Michigan after a warm December, to say the least, but it's coming now, even though it's raining outside all day long.
Be very, very pretty if all this were snow.
If it was snow, yeah. I'd say maybe we get a snow day, but this isn't high school anymore. No more snow days. We got a final here for the Simon Says battle. And it looks like we have a dance-off for the final. You good commentator for dance-offs? Because I don't know what this guy's doing.
This is a very, very interesting way to end a game of Simon Says.
Yeah. He was not impressed with their dancing.
Going into the second half, before we make a few switches on who's doing play-by-play and color commentary, what are we looking at in this second half? What's going to be the biggest drive? What's going to be the biggest factor for winning this game here?
I think it's just both teams just continue to play the way they've been playing, focusing on the defensive end, capitalizing off the turnovers, making life difficult for both sides. And then for Michigan specifically, I think really if they can execute that where the penetration kick out and actually hit a couple more threes, because you're going to have to match Braun at some point during this game, which Michigan's done fairly well, but Braun's going to hit her threes. You got to just make them as difficult as you can. If she gets a lucky shot to go, you just got to live with that. But if you're Michigan, make her life difficult, make her life offensively difficult. She's already got 14, so she's well on pace of passing her season average. So I think that's who Michigan has to focus on at the defensive end if they want to come away with the win. And down by 6, very manageable. I think just managing the runs, because we've seen this game have a lot of runs on both sides. So if Michigan can handle those, keep a steady pace of play the whole way, I think that Michigan will be in a good position to come away with a win here in the second half.
I 100% agree. And just to reiterate a couple of things that we've been talking about a little bit throughout this game, those turnovers, they're going to make a difference in this game. You're going to want to reduce those as much as you possibly can on both sides. And we've seen a lot of turnovers from both sides today, both from the Golden Gophers and from the Wolverines, and you're going to want to ramp up that offensive efficiency. When Minnesota was able to get the ball moving and able to run down the court, they were able to get some quick points, and then the last couple minutes of the first half, they were able to get a lead because of that.
Yeah, you're right. Minnesota did take advantage of some transition, and Michigan definitely wants to slow them down a little bit more because they gave up a couple quick looks coming out of a missed three for Michigan that led to some quick transition and a quick bucket for Minnesota. So that's also something to keep an eye on. I agree with your point 100% there. So yeah, we appreciate you tuning in to Matthew and I for the first half coverage. And you've been listening to WCBN Sports, this presentation of Michigan women's basketball. 41-35 Gophers here at the break. We'll be back in just a second with our new commentary team to take us home. We have a good one coming up the rest of the way. Stay tuned. We will be back in just 1 second. You are listening to WCBN Sports' presentation of Michigan women's basketball.
Good evening, Ann Arbor, and welcome to the second half in just a couple of minutes of tonight's matchup with Michigan versus Minnesota. I am Tim, and I'm doing play-by-play for all this, but I am not alone. Who is joining me on the booth with me here? Ooh, your mic is all the way off, my good sir. There we go. Try again.
There we go. My name is Meyer, and I am here doing color and adding a little bit of analysis to the game that we're about to see.
All right. It's been a back and forth first half. Obviously, Minnesota has now pulled away at the end, but by no means is Michigan playing a poor game. It's been pretty even across the board. When you look at it from field goal percentage, pretty even there. Turnovers, it's going across the board. So what do you think has been that extra edge that's been had for Minnesota so far?
I think the extra edge for Minnesota right now has been Braun. She has been shooting absolutely lights out, and she's been really the igniting factor of this offense. You've been seeing that they've been struggling at many points to get a rhythm going, and then she'll be hitting one of these crazy knockdown threes. And I think that's really adding a lot of momentum for this Gophers offense, and that's what's giving them the edge right now.
Absolutely. Braun leading all players right now with 14 points in the first half. They're 4 from 6 from the field, 3 or 5 from 3. This is a team that does not shoot the three ball particularly well. 33% from 3 on the year coming into today, towards the bottom of the Big Ten in terms of three-point shooting. But it's working so far for Braun today, who is the main engine of this team, leads the way with almost 20 points per game, and has been having a great season so far. He's going to continue that in this going. Whereas for Michigan, on the other hand, again, like I said, it's not like it's been a bad game for any stretch. I mean, Minnesota is just a good team coming in under first-year head coach Dawn Plitzaway, who has spent a lot of time as head coach all across college sports. She was at South Dakota for 6 years, where in the time she absolutely dominated, had 3 regular season and Sun Belt champs, 3 tournament champs, actually brought South Dakota to the Sweet 16 in 2022, her last year there, where they played the number 3 Michigan team in the Sweet 16. Michigan beat them by 3 to push them to that Elite 8 game against Louisville. So this is a team that Coach Plitzaway has been familiar with, played them back then, was also an assistant here back around 2012, was here for a couple of years, and also last year was coach with the West Virginia Mountaineers, brought them to a tournament bid as well. So it's a coach who, even though it's her first year here, has had a lot of success winning and raising programs up in the past. And so far, she's been doing that same thing with Minnesota here. Minnesota's been having a great season and hoping to continue it through the bulk of the Big Ten season, as we are just 2 minutes away from getting back into the second half of this game. Who's been your main, the person you've been most impressed with on the Michigan side looking at that first half?
On Michigan's side, I have to say that Hobbs has been by far the most impressive. She is averaging 9 points per game throughout this season, and today she already has 7 points. And we've seen that she's been able to come in when Filio, who's the main scorer, has been struggling a little bit, and she's been able to put some points on the board and really been able to keep Michigan in this game when we thought at many points Minnesota was just going to pull away.
And you speak about Layla Filia there, really being the engine of this team. She's had some struggles with inefficiency throughout the season. She does take a wide volume of shots. She has about 90 more shot attempts than anyone else on the team, which is Lauren Hansen, number 2 there. And so she's had some problems, but we saw it in that Ohio State game a couple weeks ago, right at the turn of the new year. Absolutely took control of that game in the second half and pushed Michigan to a victory over a then top 25 Ohio State team. They've since fallen out because of that loss. But this is a Michigan team that, last couple years has been kind of borderline. Ever since Niles Hillman left, it's been a team that's been right on the edge of being really good, but couldn't win those games that you need to win. They couldn't make those upsets, couldn't beat that top tier of the Big Ten. But this year with that win against Ohio State was looking like maybe that start of something new. And a win here against the Minnesota team would really help solidify that, as Minnesota not quite at the top level with your Ohio States and your Indianas and your Iowas, but a very strong team this year with a very strong, very young roster. There's only a couple of upperclassmen on this team. It's a 7 freshmen, 3 sophomores to only 1 senior and 1 grad.
They're a young team,
It's
but they've been playing well.
A young team that's got fire, that's got passion. I mean, we're sitting way up here in the press box, and we're here in the bench yelling all game long. They've been a bench that's been active in a way I've not seen another team be all year here in Crisler, and that includes the Wolverines. Not knocking them. That's just the intensity that Golden Gopher team has brought with them into Crisler today. And with that, the players have returned to the floor, and we will be beginning the second half as soon as the TV people get off of the floor. We are not here for you. We are here for the basketball. Please get your oversized lights.
And I guess we'll see
3 producers all on the court that you don't, whatever. Anyways, I shouldn't talk bad. That's what I'm trying to be one day. Anyways.
And I guess we'll see how the NCAA tourney really goes on, because right now Michigan is predicted to make it and the Gophers are predicted to not make it. And I mean, right now the Gophers are winning, so we'll see how this ends up turning up.
And we know when it comes down to, we are back in action here, when it comes down to that tournament, you look for those quality wins. Michigan's got one over Ohio State.
Absolutely.
Minnesota can start pulling one against Michigan. That could be one of those wins that kind of puts them up over that edge. But with that, we are back here in action. Michigan working in the half court. Elisa Brett has it on the wing. Dribbles up, swings over Kyra Evans outside. Try to get to Lauren Hansen, but guarded well by Battle there. Up top to Brett. Back into Kyra Evans. 5 on the shot clock. Evans drives in. Layup. Gets it. Hits that one over Sophia Hart. Thought that was going to be an interesting battle today, with Hart being at 6'5", being one of the biggest centers that this team has played yet. But so far, Kyra Evans has been handling it very well.
Absolutely, and we're going to see how she keeps on going in this game against her.
As Hart now has it in the post, gives a great pass though into Braun, but Braun misses that turnaround jumper. Got caught in that awkward no man's land, don't know to bank it or do it, but she missed it.
And that's an unusual miss by her.
Michigan break into the corner. Lauren Hansen nails a 3 for the second bucket of the half, and now is a 1-point game just like that, barely a minute in. And Michigan's already brought this thing back.
And let me tell you, Lauren Hansen has surprised me today with her shooting. She has been shooting very well, and she's been in some uncomfortable positions too, but she's been performing very well.
Especially in that mid-range jumper she loves getting to from the top of the key. Minnesota now still working it around. Battle has it in the corner, drives baseline against Brett, kicks it out opposite side. That's Higher, puts up a 3, and that one's good. That respond. Mallory Higher, 14 consecutive games with a made 3-pointer on this Golden Gopher team. As the break there almost ends in tragedy for the Wolverines, as Brett's pass is almost picked off but simply goes out of bounds. Michigan will retain possession with a fresh shot clock. Sorry, no, excuse me, not with a fresh shot clock. That's an NBA shot clock. Lauren Hansen now has 20 seconds on the clock. 18-20 left to go in the game. Kyra Evans hands back off at the wing. Wanted that 3, didn't get it. Defense softens up, drives in, and draws the foul there. Foul's going to be on Sophie Hart. That's her first on the night. You saw Lauren Hansen start to drive in there, was going to back up, and all of a sudden defense just parred, and she was like, don't mind if I do. I was able to draw a foul. She's going to get 2 shots at the line.
Yeah, and she's been very aggressive today, and like we were saying before during the halftime break, Layla Filia has not been as on point as she usually is as a leading scorer, and people like Lauren Hansen and Hobbs have had to really take up some of that scoring, and they've been performing pretty well, keeping the Wolverines in this game.
Hansen hits the first one. The grad transfer, played her undergrad at Missouri, has been a big help to this team, giving that second volume scoring option so it's not all on Layla Filia's shoulders the way that many people thought it was going to be coming into the season. But Minnesota now working down. That's a 3 from Braun. That one's a little bit off, airballed and out of bounds, so it will be Michigan ball going down. She got hurried a little bit there from closing out from Layla Filia. But still, yeah, another rare mistake from Bauer.
Yeah, and something I've noticed is the Gophers have been moving it a lot quicker on offense, not using the whole shot clock, and the Wolverines have liked to use most of the shot clock, and sometimes it's against them.
Brett going to put up a three here from the left wing, and that one doesn't quite go. She's emerged as a great three-point threat for the Wolverines this season, especially that Miami, Ohio game, having a career-high 27 points.
That was an insane performance by her.
I was calling that game. That was something else to be seen. But anyways, after that out of bounds off the missed shot, it's going to be Minnesota bringing it up. Battle's got it up top, guarded by Brett. Takes a screen from Hart, drives all the way in, kicks it back, tries to get it opposite the court. No one's home, but a great save there from the Gophers, but unfortunately goes right into Wolverine's hand, driving down. Entry pass into Hobbs, loses it, kicks it back out to Hansen, swings around to Brett. Back over to Feely. Feely's going to drive in, free throw line jumper, and misses it front rim. Great defense there from Braun to contest that shot. And a big pass up there into the paint, not quite. Hart with a big cross-court entry pass into the post where Heyer was waiting for it. But unfortunately, Heyer couldn't quite get the shot in.
And I know our colleagues talked about this, but you're seeing two of the best defensive teams in the Big Ten right now.
Absolutely.
Michigan #1 and the Gophers at #3. So this is exactly what we expected, a defensive matchup.
Oh, yeah. In terms of scoring defenses, they are at the top of the Big Ten, which is funny because they're already 44-41.
It's been a little bit higher score than we had really expected it to be.
Already reaching up. That's going to be a three from Brett after the kick out from Hobbs. Doesn't quite go. Rebound by Battle. And Battle's going to try to push it a little bit here. Even numbers coming down. Picked up by Hobbs. Swings it into the corner for Meyer. Oh, and that's going to be a charge. Charge on Sophie Hart, drawn by Kyra Evans. A great job there of planting her feet and taking the contact. Michigan ball coming down. 6:45 to go in the third quarter. 41-44. Gophers still with a slight lead.
And this has really been a game of runs today. I feel like it's been very static at some points where neither team is able to really put it in the bucket, and then at some times they're able to just turn it up. And this is what we're seeing right now, where neither team has really made a field goal in the last 2 minutes and 30 seconds.
Nehemiah Holloway checks in for the Gophers. Littlefield drives in, Euro steps around the big. Doesn't quite go, but Cameron Evans, rebound, putback, doesn't go. Second chance, no. And that one gets tipped out to Battle. Michigan a couple opportunities there, but none of them fell. Cameron Williams also now checked in. Both her attempts didn't go. And a wide open Heyer on the wing for a three.
And that's something that Michigan cannot afford, to give up those wide open threes in transition.
Littlefield is going to try to respond with one of her own, and does.
And that's been happening all game long. They have just been trading threes back and forth, and we'll see if it continues for the rest of the night.
That ends the streak of 6 missed field goal attempts from the Wolverines. 44-47, still a tight game. This battle's going to go all the way down to the wire. 5:50 to go. Battle up top, guarded by Brett. Swings to the corner. That's Braun. Back up top to Heyer. Heyer for another three-pointer. And again, back-to-back threes for Heyer on back-to-back possessions.
And that's going to make it 5 threes for her.
Heyer's got 18 on the night. 50-44 now. Hansen's got it on the wing. Tries to take a screen from Hobbs. Kicks back out to Hobbs. Inside to Evans. Sorry, no, to Williams, excuse me. They look nothing alike. I don't know how I did that. Cameron Williams kind of missed that one. Good defense from the Gophers. It's going to be out of bounds off Minnesota, so Michigan will get it baseline out of bounds. Hobbs will inbound going into their box formation.
Heyer has really emerged as a scorer in this quarter, where she's been almost silent in the first two.
Hobbs looking for Brett. Doesn't get it. Gets in the Cameron, though. Reels it in. Layup. Front of the rim. Doesn't go. Rebound by Hobbs. Puts it back up, but the foul was called before.
It's going to be an over-the-back foul.
It is going to go on Cameron Williams on that rebound. Which is unfortunate because Hobbs had it, but the foul means that it's going to stay at 44-50 as we hit the 5-minute mark coming up in a second. Gophers working on their half court. That's Janae Sanders, one of the few elder statesmen of this team. The grad student from App State. Braun puts up a three-pointer, blocked, but somehow the rebound gets all the way down to Graholski, but a foul on the Gophers. Foul goes on Nehemiah Holloway.
And I don't know about you, but to me, Braun is giving me a little bit of Caitlin Clark vibes in this game with the way that she's shooting the three.
She's got that confidence to her. She's definitely not afraid to pull it, but nowhere near with the consistency that Clark's able to pull off. Michigan now has it in the half court. Feely guarded up top, kicks over to Evans. Sorry, no, to Brett, excuse me. Gets back up top, and there's a foul off the ball. It's another foul on Nehemiah Holloway. A body checking off ball in the paint, so it's going to be Michigan ball baseline out of bounds when we come back from the under 5 media timeout. 4:44 to go here in Crisler. 44-50 the score. Minnesota still up 6. At Minnesota, Michigan came out kind of hot, but Minnesota has met them every step of the way from then. And Michigan going a little bit cold, only 1 of 8 from the field the last couple of shots. What's been the thing that Minnesota's doing that's helping them to prevent Michigan from getting good looks off?
I think what Minnesota's really been doing is that they haven't been letting Michigan kind of work around the perimeter. We've seen them all the way at the end block already pressuring from the start. So when that's happening, you're having an offense that is way more pressured and it feels like they need to move the ball a lot more. And when you're moving the ball a lot more and in that matter, you're going to tend to make more mistakes than before because you feel like you need to move it that fast. So I think what Michigan needs to do right now is kind of slow it down a bit, settle some plays, and then look for the open people after making some good passes, because right now the pressure is getting to them as they are 1 for 8 in the last field goals.
And that's what Minnesota loves to with that pressure. They love forcing those turnovers. Minnesota is 3rd in the conference when it comes to their turnover ratio. They're averaging a 5.36 turnover margin, which means they're forcing 5 more turnovers from their opponents every game. And that leads them also being 4th in the Big Ten in assist turnover ratio, with that ratio sitting at 1.28. So they're a team that likes to play fast, force those turnovers, and they use those to create opportunities on the fast break, on the back end with those points. As what they've been able to do to Michigan today. Teams have been decently even in turnovers. In fact, Michigan is actually winning this turnover battle, only turning the ball over 5 times, whereas Minnesota's turned it over 7 times and has managed 12 points off those 8 turnovers, 12 points as opposed to Minnesota's 8 points.
Yeah. But
that's still something that you're seeing Minnesota trying to force the issue more. They know they're a little bit behind pace of where they usually are with that, so that's where that pressure comes from. And especially when you have someone like Amaya Battle, who is so great on the defensive end, so quick laterally, who can go and force Layla Filia or Lauren Hansen, whoever's bringing that ball up, to make a decision, to make something happen, not just be able to stand there dribbling the ball the whole way.
Absolutely. And at the end of the day, it's what everybody says. Defense wins games and defense wins championships. And these two teams are good. They are contending to try to make it to the NCAA tournament. And they're right there. And we can see that they're right there and they're able to stay in the hunt because of their defensive performances against great teams and against each other right now.
Minnesota has not made the NCAA tournament since all the way back in the 2018 edition of March Madness. They missed it all 5 years under coach Lindsey Whalen, the Golden Gopher legend, all-time career points leader there. Spent 15 years in WNBA before becoming the head coach at Minnesota. Unfortunately, playing success didn't quite lead to coaching success because the WNBA, the all-WNBA guard, unfortunately couldn't lead the Gophers past anything other than a knit second-round exit. And so now with Coach Plitzway in, hoping to turn that around.
And this is such a young coaching staff for the Gophers. Most of them are in their first season, with just one of them being in the second season. So we will see in the future how it ends up turning out for them.
Back to the action. Cameron Williams converts the second of those 2 free throws, making it 45-50 now. And Minnesota gets the ball off that, working inside. Nehemiah Holloway inside, gives back out to Braun. Braun guarded by Taylor Woodson, the freshman. Braun drives baseline, steps back, flips it cross course to Sanders. Sanders' shot doesn't quite go. Rebound by Williams. It's going to get to Brett. Brett's going to push it up to Hobbs on the right side. Hobbs gives back out to Brett. Thought about, drives in, free throw line, jumper, rings around and gets in. That ball hit every square inch of the rim, bounced off the backboard and managed to find its way in. Janae Sanders now bringing it up for the Gophers. Flings it over to, I'm really bad at names today. I apologize out there. But it gets over to Braun now. Braun working it up top. Flings it over high pass. Sanders brings it in like she's J.J. McCarty against Alabama. And finishes the and one going across the paint. Staying strong, keeping that ball high, and converts. Foul goes against Brett.
And what has seemed to work after these adjustments by Coach KVA is making sure that Braun is not shooting these three-pointers, and they're face guarding her at all times. Instead of looking around and playing a help defense, there's one person on Braun at all times face guarding her, and we see it right now off the free throw.
And that free throw, Sanders converts and gets subbed right back out for Battle. Yeah, Braun in the second half has not made a bucket yet after starting off in the first half with 14 points. We are now under the 4-minute mark, and she is yet to make a field goal.
And that might be the difference maker for this game.
Layla Feely has it on the wing. Guarded by Braun, switches off, driving in, right hand, goes up for it. Blocked, but brought in by Stuck, excuse me, who dishes it to Brett, and Brett gets the and one of her own. A great job there from Elise Stuck, who just checked in on the offensive board. Saw Alyssa Brett cutting in from the top of the arc, dishes it, and Brett finishes strong, draws the foul, and is going to get a chance to convert and make it a 2-point game. And she does so, bringing it to 50. So it's 50 to 53 is the official score, but for whatever reason, it only says 52 on the stadium score.
And Alyssa Britt has been playing a great game. She's averaging 7.9 points per game this season, and she already has 14 points today. So that is a difference maker today.
Battle guarded tightly by Felia. Felia almost had a steal there on that one. Hart battling against Williams on the inside, but gets it back over to Braun. Braun back to Battle in the corner. 10 seconds on the shot clock. Battle drives in, pulls up, jumper from the free throw line. Back rim doesn't go. Rebound by Stuck. Again, Hansen's going to push it up to the wing. Felia look for three, doesn't get it, drives in, baseline. Works around, puts up a layup, and gets fouled on the way. It was great help defense there from the Gophers. If I can see a number, I'll give you a name. But great job there to step up, stop the drive. That was number 5, Maggie Sedano. A great job help defense there. But Felia drew the foul and is going to get 2 free throws here for her troubles.
And we can tell how hard Felia is trying to get involved in the offensive part of this game. And it is working out for her better in the second half than it was in the first half.
Felia, that free throw, she puts it home, makes it 11 points on the day. Going to try for 12 here. And does so. Littlefield has played almost every minute of today's game. She's played 25 of the 27 minutes that we've played so far today. So we've now hit the 3-minute mark in the stadium.
And we're finally hearing the crowd get involved in this game, whereas they've been pretty silent for the entirety of it.
It's been a bit more of a quiet crowd today, with a lot of people waiting for the football team to get back to celebrate the national championship win from last night. But there is still the women's basketball faithful out here in attendance. We got a foul on the Wolverines. Fouls on Taylor Woodson, trying to work around a screen set by Hire. We got called with a foul for it, so it's going to stay Minnesota ball. Michigan only 3 team fouls. Minnesota 5, so Michigan is in the bonus if they get fouled in the next 2 minutes and 37 seconds. 52-53, a 1-point game. It's been back and forth all quarter. But Michigan's starting to take a slight edge. Battle working against Felia, drives in, doesn't like what she sees, kicks it back out. It's a 3 up. Groholski doesn't quite go. Rebound by Hansen. Hansen's going to try to push it. Has Felia on her right. Sees her. Felia's going to drive in center, kicks back out to Hansen at the wing. Stutter steps and drives in, but they say she traveled on the stutter. It was close, but not a wrong call.
And we see that on Michigan's defensive end, that they are having to crash the boards almost the whole team, because number 52 on the Gophers, Hart, she is the tallest person on the court by far, and we've seen that she has grabbed a few offensive rebounds.
Braun working against Woodson again. Hart sends some screens up top, Woodson sticking on it. Braun bails out, gets to Hart. Hart entry pass inside to Groholski, and the foul is called on Hansen, who is a little bit out of position playing post defense there, which is not where you want Lauren Hansen, as great as she is. So she's going to get subbed out now for Alyssa Brett.
And we'll see if we can get some more points out of Alyssa Brett, which she has been able to do for most of the game.
Hansen's got 2 fouls. Minnesota's taking it under the basket. Gets it into Hire. Hire kicks it out to Groholski. Groholski driving in. Free throw line. Puts up a jumper. Front rim doesn't go. And Brett saves that one from going out. Gets rebound. Gets up to Felia, who's going to drive up against Battle. Works left. Kicks back out to Woodson. Around to Brett. Brett inside to Williams, who puts up a baby hook. Hits the rim and doesn't go. Braun got to the board, and Braun's going to try to push it. Hire wanted it. She's open in the corner. She wants it, and she's going to get it. Corner 3 from Hire, and that one doesn't fall. Starting to cool down a little bit. That's going to be Michigan ball going down after Grocholski and Brett were fighting for it, and Grocholski punched it out of bounds. Yeah, Hires kind of calmed down a little bit after hitting those couple threes earlier in the quarter.
Yes, she has, and she has had some open opportunities to convert those threes, but they have just not been going in for her.
And there you see Braun almost stealing that one, that pressure we're talking about from this Minnesota defense, not letting Michigan bring it up without having to think about it. But Woodson's now going to work on the outside. Crisler gets it inside to Cameron Williams, who kicks it right back out to Felia, drives in, spin move, layup on the left side, and is fouled doing so. That foul again on the help defense. I think the one's going to go on higher. Does. Yes, it does. And again, that's what you see. Layla Felia is so good at getting into the paint that that help defense is usually coming just a step late, and that's where those fouls are coming from.
Yeah, she is absolutely incredible at maneuvering in the air, which has really given her an advantage throughout her whole career, just how good she has been at attacking the rim with the ball.
Janae Sanders checks back in as that is Hires' third foul. Want to try to save some of her sharp shooting for the fourth quarter if Minnesota needs it. Currently leads all players with 18 points, 5 for 8 from 3.
And the Gophers have been on a drought. They have not scored a point in the past 2 minutes and 40 seconds, and Michigan has taken advantage with now going in the lead.
Meanwhile, Layla Felia does hit both of those free throws, and Michigan finally, I think for the first time today, takes the lead, 54-53 with 1 minute to go in the third quarter. Braun's going to try to make some magic happen. Gets it inside to Hart. Hart guarded by Williams, puts it out to Sanders. Sanders guarded by Stuck. Drives right, picked up by Williams. Drives back left, no one there. Puts up a floater in the lane, goes out. And a rebound by Woodson, very strong there. Taking that away from Sophie Hart. She's going to drive it up. Kick it to the corner for Layla Felia. Had a shot, but fumbled the ball, so didn't get a clean look at it. 30 on the game clock, 17 on the shot. Stuck reverses it back to Woodson. Woodson, free throw line, driving in. 10 on the shot clock, gets it back to Stuck. Tries to drive, but gets it poked out. But still manages someone to find a Brett to Woodson with a 15-footer. Doesn't quite go. 13 seconds. Battle's got it, driving up. 10 on the game clock. Battle, guarded by Woodson. Takes a screen. Doesn't work. 5 on the clock. Braun puts it up. Gets tipped, doesn't go. Woodson is going to heave and is going to barely get it to the paint. And Brett is down.
She seems to be clutching her knee at this point.
There was a collision at the end of all of that. Braun put up a 3 with about 4 seconds left to go, but it got tipped. Big mess of players all kind of jumping for the rebound. I got distracted from Taylor Woodson coming away with it and putting it up. But, yeah, Brett is down, clutching her knee, and has not moved. KBA is out there as well as the trainer.
And that seems to be a knee that she has already had an injury on because she is wearing a brace there.
And you can tell she is in pain. This is not what you want to see. Brett, one of the grad transfers from Australia, played her undergrad at Bowling Green, came here, and along with Hansen was a really big part as she's helped to her feet by the training staff. Brett has been such a big part of the team this year, and she is not putting any weight on that knee. This is a scary sight for Michigan fans because Brett didn't necessarily start out the year that hot, didn't start out in the starting lineup, but over the course of the season, over the course of the non-conference schedule, she worked her way into that starting lineup, like we talked about, had that career day against Miami, Ohio, putting up absolutely insane numbers, was making everything she was putting up, and she earned herself as being a solid sharpshooter option, great defensive hand, great team player as part of that starting lineup. And it is quiet in Crisler now as the fans are coming to terms with the fact that if this is as bad as we all think it is, we may not see Brett for the rest of the season, and it is going to be interesting to see how Michigan will be able to play without her because she's made herself such a big part of this offense.
They will need to respond strong because today, in my opinion, she has been the one difference maker for this team. She has been consistent. She has been shooting the ball well, and she has also been playing great defensively, like you said before. So we will need to see who now steps up for the Wolverines. It will need to be someone that we have not seen that much before because she had 14 points. She was the leading scorer of the Wolverines.
14 points, 3 for 6 from 3, 6 boards, 2 assists, and 22 minutes of play tonight. Is such a massive part of this team on the year. Brett averaging about 8 points per game, but again, that was with her sort of being more of a bench role player early in the season. If you look at the last couple of games, she's been a pretty consistent double-digit scorer in a lot of Michigan's games. Obviously, the Indiana game was just a crapshoot from the beginning, with Indiana making their 15 first shots that they tried. That game was always going to be out of hand, but all the other games outside of that, even the Florida game that Michigan did come away losing, Brett was a very strong part of that, especially at times where Lauren Hansen, very good shooter, a little bit streaky, Layla Feely a little bit inefficient, having that solid third option.
Yeah.
As we now get the fourth quarter officially underway, we need to see who's going to step up now. Right now for the Wolverines in is Woodson, Felia, Hansen, Stuck, and Evans. And for the Gophers, as a foul is called
on Woodson.
For
Trying
an off ball, guarding Braun now, taking on that task.
And we see that Stuck has gone in for Brett, and she has not played that much this season, but she did start 3 games this season, so we'll see if her experience will help the Wolverines.
It's a 3 from the Gophers, and made. That is Grocholski. The true freshman out of North Prairie, Wisconsin, buries that one. Grocholski is joined on the floor by Battle, Braun, Sanders, and Hart. Michigan now has in the half court, 15 seconds on the shot clock. Woodson pulls up from the elbow. Back rim doesn't go, but gets her own, fights for her own rebound. Players are on the floor for it. Grocholski comes away with it, dishes it to Battle. And Battle's going to wait for everyone to come back up. Hands it off to Braun in the meantime. Braun now guarded by Stuck. Battle entry pass inside to Hart. And Layla Feely comes from behind to knock that ball away.
And although Woodson has not played a great offensive game with only 3 points, she has been the reason that Braun has not made a huge impact in the third quarter, because she was guarding her for almost the entirety of the third quarter.
Minnesota's going to get a chance to inbound out of bounds under here.
And we see the physical defense of Michigan right now.
Braun puts up a step back 3 and nails it, extending Minnesota's lead to 59-54. 5-point lead now as we go under 9 minutes. Feely's going to work against Braun, drive in, go come back around. That ball rolls around and finds its way in. Layla Feely is starting to go to work like we saw against Ohio State. 3-point game, 56-59, 8:41 on the clock. Battle guarded by Hobbs on the outside. Flips up top, Grocholski. Over to Hart, comes out for it, who gets it inside to Braun, but pass is a little bit too high. Braun can't come down with it. It's a great cut there, had a wide open layup if the pass was there. 6 on the shot clock. Bell puts up a 20-footer. Doesn't go, rebounded by Evans.
And these Gophers love shooting threes. They have shot 24 threes today, 7 more than Michigan.
Layla Feely now gives it back up top to Lauren Hansen, who gives it right back to Feely, guarded by Braun, who gets it up over to Evans, wide open in the short corner, tries to drive in, and a charge is drawn. That's Sanders stepping up to draw it. Evans looked a little surprised at how wide open she got there. Evans went through on the slip screen, and Hart peeled off.
She kind of just paused when she caught the ball, surprised that no one was coming to attack her.
Evans has been the starting center for the Wolverines for most of the season now, but despite that, not a very strong scoring presence. Has 4 points today, but is not averaging very many on the year. Much more of a defense and kind of ancillary measure there. So I think she was a little bit surprised how wide open she was. As she gets called for a foul on the defense on the other side of the court, Kyra Evans got her for pushing Sophie Hart in the back in the post. And Michigan already at 3 team fouls in the fourth quarter when there's still 7:45 to go. Minnesota has yet to foul this quarter. 59-56. Bell gets a great entry pass there to Braun, but Braun fading away, doesn't get enough behind that shot, misses it short. Kyra Evans rebound. It's going to be Lauren Hansen going down against Battle, trying to work, but Battle staying strong. Flips it over to Hobbs. Guard by Grocholski. Trying to drive in right side, puts up a layup, and does so with the contact, finishes. It's a 1-point game, 58-59, just a shade over 7 to go.
And Jordan Hobbs plays like Layla Feely at some points. You see her just drive in and make shots at her own will.
Grocholski pressured by Hansen there, almost lost it, but was able to get it back. And Battle tried to drive baseline, but ran into Hansen quite literally. That's going to be a 3 from Braun. No, excuse me, that's Grocholski. Braun with the assist. And Stuck just came flying past, jumping bit for the pump fake every step of the way, and that puts it back up to a 4-point game, 62-58, with 6:40 to go. Leila drives inside, pulls up, jumper, front doesn't go, and Minnesota gets the rebound. Battle's going to run with it. Battle still guarded by Hobbs, one of the better defenders on this Michigan team. Into the corner is higher, but stolen by Evans as he tries to get it inside to Hart. Scramble for it. Grocholski comes away with it and puts up a layup and is going to get fouled. They're going to call that one on Hobbs. They were kind of tied up going for the loose ball, and Grocholski somehow managed to turn that into one motion, trying to rip it away and shooting it.
Just gave it straight back to the Gophers offense.
So she's going to get 2 shots here. 6:19 to go in the fourth quarter, 58-62.
And incredibly, between Braun, Heyer, and Grocholski, they account for almost every single 3-point shot on the Gophers offense. Barely any other people scored. They have 24 out of the 25 3-pointers that are shot.
Some big shooters there, but as we've mentioned, not the most efficient. But tonight looking pretty good. Hires 5 for 8, Braun is 4 for 9, and Grocholski's 3 for 7.
Shooting 48% collectively, which is a pretty good 3-point percentage.
Uptick for them as the free throw is good. Now Michigan's going to run with it. Both hit there, 64-58 now. Hansen's going to put up a 3. That back iron doesn't go. Braun was fighting for it there with Holloway, but Braun does come away with it. Gets over to Battle, who's going to run the offense. Holloway at the top of the key, guarded by Evans. Tried to get inside to Braun, but wasn't there. Over to Grocholski. Drives in. And a great layup there. A great little box out from Higher. Sealed that perfectly, as you mentioned it. Kind of worked as a screen. Hobbs there, tried to go around the back, kind of lost it, but Michigan keeps possession. 20 seconds on the shot clock, 5:30 on the game. Hobbs has it in the corner, guarded by Grocholski. Up top to Stuck, over on the wing to Hansen. Hansen wants to drive in, doesn't get it though. Step back, 3-pointer, front rim, doesn't go. Rebounded by Holloway. And Battle's going to bring this one up. Even numbers. Hansen picks her up, but gets right past her, pokes it out. Oh. A little scramble for the ball there. And Hobbs is going to call the foul for tripping Holloway, but Hobbs herself was also going to the ground. It was incidental contact. Unfortunately, ref doesn't care. Greta Kampschreier comes checking in for Stuck.
And Hansen has shot 11 threes today. That is an enormous amount.
4 for 11. Oh, no, sorry. No, 4 for 11 from the field, 2 for 7 from 3. Not the best night for her from 3-point, especially knowing what she can do.
But the part is that she has had to shoot a lot of uncomfortable shots when the shot clock has had to go down, so it is not entirely her own fault. Holloway's
first free throw there goes off as Michigan already 5 fouls. Minnesota in the bonus at 5:13 in the quarter. In a tight game like this is not what you want to be giving. Just free throws for the other team.
And we'll see if Michigan can turn this around, because when trailing with 5 minutes left in the fourth quarter, they are 0-4 this season, and they are down 9 points right now. So we'll see if they can make any magic happen right now to end this game.
Well, they got 14 seconds to not be losing by 9. So we'll see if that happens. Probably won't, but they're going to try. Lauren Hansen brought the ball up, guarded by Battle. Working again, nothing going. Great defense from the Gophers. Leila Filia puts up a big 3, rims in and out. Rebound by Sanders, and she's going to push it. Under 5 now. It's a 9-point game, 58-67. Gophers starting to pull away a little bit. Grocholski's got on the outside, flips it to Sanders. Sanders, the transfer from App State, gets it inside to Battle, who's going to drive, tries to finish with the left hand on the right side. Doesn't quite go, though, but manages to get her own rebound in the confusion. Kicks it out for Grocholski to bury a 3 from the wing and push it to a 12-point game, 70-58.
Let me tell you, these Gophers can shoot the ball. They have been incredibly impressive today.
Minnesota is on an 11-0 run. Sorry to cut you off there a little bit. But in the last 2.5 minutes, and Camp Schrader just throws that one away. Miscommunication with Kyra Evans. And that is going to bring us to our under 5 timeout. In the last 3 minutes, Minnesota's on an 11-0 run. Michigan has hit no free throws. Over the last 4, what has happened to this Michigan team?
I think that injury to Brett really rattled this team out because she has been the whole game consistent. And when someone like that goes down very unexpectedly, you just lose a major part of your offense that now no one has been able to fill, because Layla Filia has not been able to really score the ball as she usually does, and Hansen's threes are not falling. So we're really seeing the absence of Brett right now.
Ever since Breslev, it's just been a little bit discombobulated from the Michigan side. And it's, again, it has to give great credit to the Minnesota defense. These are 2 of the elite defensive teams in the Big Ten. And yeah, it's just been that today Minnesota has shot the ball incredibly well. They are 13 for 26 from the 3-point line, shooting 50%. They've had a great day from behind the arc, especially considering they usually shoot just about 33%. It's been a great day for them, especially great days for Braun, 17 points, 4 for 9 from 3. Groholski's got 16, 4 for 8 from 3. And, of course, Meyer, who's sitting on the bench in foul trouble right now, but has 18 points, 5 for 8 from 3. That has been the game. It's been those 3 players for the Golden Gophers hitting those big shots. And, again, the scary thing about this Minnesota team is how young it is that they are.
7 freshmen on the team.
Groholski started every game of the season, true freshman, has 6. Who am I talking about? Groholski, 16 points today. You've got Meyer is a sophomore. You've got Braun's a sophomore. Battle's a sophomore. Hart is a junior, old in this sense, but still has a year or 2 more here with Minnesota. The only seniors on the team, or the only statesman, is Janae Sanders, is a grad transfer who played 4 years at App State, was the leading scorer at App State, averaging about 15 a game, has transferred to Minnesota, and is now the 6th man or 6th woman playing behind all these young bucks. So more there, that kind of Ricky Rubio mentorship role. Enjoy your retirement, Ricky. And the other senior on this team is Aminata Z, who hasn't played today, has not seen the court.
Yeah, so we see that the freshmen and the sophomores are really the ones that are leading this team, and that I'm sure will translate into success in the near future.
Exactly, and especially with this Big Ten conference being as steep as it is, being able to have a core like that sophomore core of Braun, of Battle, and of Meyer is so great to have. And Michigan forces a turnover on the inbound pass. We'll come back from me timeout. Again, Minnesota was getting a chance to inbound the ball after the miscommunication between Campshire and Evans. And on that inbounds pass, Michigan's starting to show some pressure, force a turnover. And Michigan in not panic mode, but definitely kicking it into high gear a little bit. Down 12 with just now under 4 minutes to go. Taylor Williams now in for the Wolverines. Haven't seen much of her today. Hobbs drives inside, pulls up, a little floater in the lane, and gets it. That is the first field goal this team has had since the other Hobbs layup back at around 7:30 in the 4th quarter. And Michigan now full court trap and pressure. And Minnesota's a little bit rattled by it.
But they're able. This is still a game. It's only a 10-point game with 3 minutes left. If the defense can kick it on, which you know that Michigan can, we're in for a special treat right here.
60-70, 3:30 to go. Groholski has it on the wing, over to Battle. Guarded by Williams. Braun gets it. 4 on the shot clock. Battle's going to have to put up something here. Gets it off, but doesn't go off balance. But somehow a Hart, a full extension, flick of the wrist, tips it in and saves that for the Gophers. 72-70, under 3 to go. Wolverines, you're in gotta-have-it mode now. And Layla Filia is the player who's gotta have it in these moments. Drives in, right hand. Layup short, doesn't go. Was kind of pushed off her mark by Sophie Hart. Come up to help off the screen. But Braun's got it now. In Minnesota, all they got to do is hold on. Groholski guarded by Hansen. Over to Battle on the wing. Over to Meyer, who's back in. Woodson pressuring that pass, but Battle brings it in. Jumper from the short corner, hits the back rim, doesn't go. Rebound by Woodson. They're going to push. Filia's got it. Her one-on-one with Braun. Pulls up, jumper off the glass and doesn't quite go.
And it has just not been falling for Layla Filia today. She's gotten great looks, and they're just rattling around the rim and falling.
Layla Filia struggling a little bit. Hasn't hit a bucket in about 6 minutes. So we're now under 2 minutes. Filia's guard and battle tight. Gets over to Braun. 5 on the shot clock. Braun's going to make something happen. Kicks it over to, oh my goodness, Groholski again with a deep three-pointer. Push it to 75.
What an impressive three-point showing.
And Hansen just tries to take it coast to coast there. Gets called with a foul. She's going to get 2. But Groholski again coming with a big three-pointer there right at the shot clock.
52% from the three-pointer. They are shooting it, I think, better on the three-pointer in the perimeter than they are in the paint today. It has been an incredible showing.
And that's 19 for Groholski. A great showing from her, the freshman.
And this is almost unexpected because you would have expected the Michigan defense to really clamp down and not let them reach 75 points when they're only allowing around 56 a game.
Groholski was the number 2 recruit in Wisconsin from last year in the whole state. Number 2 recruit, had her in her high school and prep career almost 2,300 career points. 13th most in Wisconsin State history. Was the all-time leading scorer at her prep school. Was Miss Basketball Finalist for Wisconsin back in 2023, and has immediately come and make an impact for his Golden Gopher team. 62-77 now, and Taylor Williams inside gets fouled by Hire, so she's going to go free throws now. Looking ahead for the Golden Gophers, who are, assuming after today, going to improve their record to 12-3, going to snap their 2-game losing streak.
But they have a tough schedule up ahead. Let me tell you that. They only have had 3 away games up to this point, and I think, if I saw it earlier, is the least amount of away games since like the 1970 season where they are at this point in the season. So now they are going to be away for the majority of the rest of the season. So we'll see how a young team like this responds to being in tougher environments.
And Taylor Williams misses the first, hits the second, 63-77, just about minutes ago. After today, on the 14th, Minnesota will go back home to play Nebraska before going on the road for a tough matchup against Indiana, before going back home again for Michigan State for a little road trip at Wisconsin and at Illinois on the 23rd and 28th. So like I said, they got a bit of a road game there.
And they keep on scoring.
Another three-pointer from Hire from the corner there. Hansen's going to try to respond with one of her own and does so. Hansen's first 3 in a minute. At this point, 42 seconds to go and a 14-point lead. This game is all but wrapped up. Michigan's still pressuring, though, not giving up quite yet. Minnesota's going to probably put up one more shot as there's still 15 seconds separating shot and game. 25 on game, 10 on shot. Battle's going to try to drive in. It's going to get fouled by Taylor Williams, who's Gardner. For Michigan, a little bit of a disappointing start to 2024 after that great win against Ohio State to close out 2023. They've opened 2024 with 2 straight losses. That tough loss against Indiana, which, again, was just a game where Indiana hit all of their 15 first-quarter shots, including 6 three-pointers, to take a 36-15 lead and just never look back. Tough loss versus Minnesota. The Gophers, the Wolverines, after that second free throw, is good. The Wolverines are back here on Saturday to play Wisconsin for going on the road for a Nebraska and Rutgers road trip, before coming back here for Maryland, then going to at Michigan State on the 27th of January for a big game versus a very good Michigan State team. And as the final seconds tick away, this becomes final. A great win for the Gophers, a disappointing loss for the Wolverines, 66-82. And of course, say what you want about the game, say what you want about the score, shooting percentages, whatever. The big takeaway from today is the Alyssa Brett injury is going to be seeing what that develops as. Make sure you're tuning into mgoblue.com, to the Michigan Daily, for all those updates, seeing whenever that's going to get posted. But that's going to be Hopefully it is just a stinger. It's just a twist, a sprain, something like that, where she can be back for some of these tougher games that Michigan has down the road. Mid-February, Iowa and Michigan State back-to-back is going to be a tough go of it. Ohio State to close out the year, and Purdue after that. There's some tough games that Michigan has coming down. So if Brett can get back for any of those, it would be a huge help to have. But if on the already injured knee, if that's something worse, Michigan may have a tall task of them replacing one of their key pieces of the year. But that's something that we can't, all we can do about that is speculate right now. So we're going to talk about things that we can be more definitive about, like today's game for the Gophers, leading all players with 21 points, was Mallory Heyer, who, thanks to that last garbage time three-pointer, goes over Grholski, who had 19. And then, of course, Braun had 17 and Battle had 13. Almost the entire starting lineup in double digits. The only one wasn't was Sophie Hart, had 6 on the day. And Sanders and Holloway each had 3 points to contribute to that as well. On the Michigan side, Hansen had 16, Felia had 16. Brett had 14 in 22 minutes before going out hurt. Hobbs had 11. Evans had 4, Woodson had 3, and then each Williams had 1 apiece. Any other final thoughts on today's game?
I think while this is a disheartening loss to another Big Ten opponent, now is when the real race starts for the NCAA tournament. Every single game counts now, and I think the whole team knows that. And they will make adjustments. They will see what's going to work out for them. And I think what's going to be the difference maker for this team in the future is finding that consistent score. If it's going to be Layla Filia and she'll be able to kick it up a notch, or if it might be Jordan Hobbs, which she proved that she can score the ball today, we'll see what happens.
Hobbs, I think if this is a Brett injury that's out for a while, Hobbs is the one that's going to have to step. She already does a lot. I think Hobbs is a very underrated player on this team.
Absolutely.
She doesn't lead. She doesn't do anything the best, but she does everything really well.
She's a key role player for this team.
And that's like the benefit of having, like I made a joke in one of the last games where aside from the physical violence, she's a real Draymond Green type, where you want to just have that kind of like solid presence where you're not doing anything super impressively, but you're doing a lot of things. You're really key part of that, but Hobbs may have to step up from that role and take more of a leadership of a dominating kind of role.
I love the comparison. Love the NBA comparison.
I appreciate that. But yeah, and you're also going to have to look for, Kyra Evans, 4 points today on the year. I'll have to look this up real quick, but she's averaging like 5 points a year, 5 points a game on the year. That's also something that's going to have to step up. If Brett is going to be absent, and even without Brett being absent, for being a starting player on this team and averaging 5.1 points per game, that has to be increased.
You just need more from all your starters now.
Yeah, and that was, I think, actually also goes to show too. We were mentioning how the pressure that Minnesota's putting up around the arc and putting in between the three-point line and half court on the guards, and how that was detrimental to Michigan. It's because Michigan lacks that solid inside presence that they had over like the last couple of years. It was Emily Kaiser and Leah Brown. Before that, it was Nasr Hillman.
Yep.
Michigan's always had a good, solid presence where, even if it was, Amy Dilk or Layla Filia last year or Maddie Nolan, like these other people who were our great guards who were doing a lot of scoring, you still had that solid presence down low. Kyra Evans, as good as a player as she is not an offensive threat the teams have to game plan for, so they can just put all of their eggs into, don't worry about doubling in the post, just push up, go high on screens, come over the top, don't worry about things in the paint because we don't have anyone to worry about down there. All we're worried about is Lauren Hansen shooting threes, about Layla Filia trying to drive in, so cut that off at the front. And it worked today. Like you saw, Michigan only put up 66 points today. That's well below their season average. They let up 82 points. Again, Minnesota just got hot from the arc, and there's very little you can do about that. Filia and Hansen tried their best, but wasn't quite there. They're going to need some help coming forward. They're going to need someone else to step up and start taking some more shots, start making some more shots, because Michigan has been somewhat inefficient this year. I mean, for me, it's always going to Layla Filia. Has attempted about 90. I don't know what's going to be after this game, but has attempted about 90 more shots than Lauren Hansen. and
That's
is
a
only
lot.
averaging 4 more points per game. Like if that's what it's going to be, you have to be making a lot more than that. And she has one of the lower field goal percentages on the team. She's shooting 371 from the field. Most other players are at 4 at least. Anyone that's taking any volume of shots is at least 405, 407. She's got to start bringing that up. And it does suck that she is still playing objectively very well, and we're just still asking more from her. But with the way this team is set up, it's kind of what needs to happen if this team does want to make that run to March Madness.
Yeah, and while we hope that this injury to Brett will only last a week or 2 weeks, hopefully it'll be a lot shorter, but we are maybe expecting it to be a little bit longer just because that we see how she struggled to get up. I guess the one good thing about that, if you can say it's a good thing, is that we're going to need to find who else will be able to make an impact on this team. And that is something that in the future will be very helpful, especially if they make it into the tournament, because for these tournaments, you will be playing better teams, and you will need to have almost every single player that gets significant minutes be able to have a true impact on the game.
Absolutely. Well, we want to thank you guys for tuning in here to WCBN Sports on YouTube. Make sure you subscribe to get for all of our broadcasts. Like I said, we'll be having the Wisconsin game on Saturday. Also, there's hockey coming up. There's men's basketball still going on. Pretty soon, baseball and softball game come back into it. So for all of your Michigan sporting news, broadcasts, all of that, make sure you're tuning in here. Make sure you're going to Spotify, looking up WCBN, the Daily Sports Report, for our daily radio sports show. Follow us on Twitter and everywhere else. I have been Tim.
And my name is Meyer.
And you guys heard the first half. People already say their goodbyes. But we want to thank you for tuning in. Have a great night. We're still national champs, and that's all that matters. But in the end,
Absolutely.
go blue.
Go blue.